essentially we feed off of each other.
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
the difference between like doing it on our own versus doing it with someone else.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you just, like for me, I just feel like I need that little extra to really make it worth something.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I disregard it or don't feel passionate. It makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Right.
I enjoy it a lot more, which makes me want to do it more.
Yeah.
So
Most definitely.
it feels it. But all right, well, we're going. So, hello everybody. This is Timothy Bennett here,
It's Aaron Banyan.
and this is B&B Banter Bros. Took a little break, but we're back.
Yeah. Back
So-
off of quarantine.
Yeah. So today, let's start with how you doing?
I'm good. Back to work and
And
stuff
you hate
like
it.
that. Huh?
And you hate it.
Well, I mean, my crew's rounding out at this point, so stress is coming off of me. This week is a little stressful just because I'm back after being gone for a week, and one of my guys went on vacation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's that. But I've got a pretty good crew so far, and still building it. So
Good.
I can't complain. I mean, I'm in a better spot than I was a couple weeks ago when I worked. I was working 80-hour shifts.
Right.
Not 80-hour shifts, but 80-hour weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing open and closes.
Yeah. I worked 160 hours in 2 weeks.
It's too much, man. Too much. I don't care who you are.
And then I
too
got
much.
quarantined, so I took like a week vacation essentially.
Yeah. That's too much.
Yeah.
But
What about you, man? How you doing?
doing all right. Trying to keep busy. Planted some shit yesterday. Some hostas out in the yard.
There you go.
Yep. And looking nice. I mean, I'm planting them for next season. So I plant them now, and then I figured whatever happens, they'll die, and then they'll bloom, and they'll
They're perennials?
yeah,
perennials
I mean,
or annuals?
I don't know.
Annuals you have to replant every year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these
I
ones.
always get those confused.
Yep. So like hostas and ferns, a lot of hostas and a lot of ferns, and a handful of others. Like I don't know my flowers or plants that well, but yeah, you just plant them, and you don't have
Put
to worry
them in,
about
if they
maintenance
come
or
back, they
anything.
come back.
Yep.
Right.
But I planted a bunch of them and try to just make the yard look a little more appealing,
There
especially
you go.
since like our backyard, the grass is dying and I'm having a hard time.
Just put a fence in, no one will look at it.
Yeah, I don't have that option. But we just, it's one of those things like I'm not like really making the yard my priority
Yeah.
because it's not my yard and I don't own it. So
Just something to do.
yeah, and then I
While
just
you're
want
still not
to
working.
just kind of want to make it look nice too. But we have a lot of ants in the backyard that take up, and so they're killing a lot of the grass. So fortunately, it's out of my department. Landlords know about it, but I don't know how much they're gonna do about it. So
Yeah, that's a valid point.
but yeah. So anyway, other than that, I applied for a new job.
Well, we're at.
For a landscaping lawn care company. Yep. I just don't.
What do you do in the winter?
They do snow removal.
Oh,
so a little
cool.
bit of house and house, and they'll
Oh, right on.
shovel or snow blow.
That's
I'm like, I
legit.
can do that.
Yeah.
You know, I actually had a
money.
conversation with Kaylee, and I'm like, now that I'm older, like I have my shit figured out and a little bit more of a, priorities, and so I was like, I don't mind looking like a freaking Eskimo now that I'm an adult, but
Right.
you would have, told me I had to dress like an Eskimo 10 years ago, I would have probably like,
Nope.
no, I'm not going to do that. Whatever it is when you're young,
What are you talking about? That doesn't look cool.
right? Yeah, whatever it is, it's that fucking arrogance.
See,
That,
I've always been. I can honestly say I've always never given a shit about what I wore.
yep.
The only thing that I ever gave a shit about was my hair, which is probably why I keep it so short, if not gone, all the time.
Yeah,
Because
so you didn't
if
have
I
to-
let it grow out to the point where I have to comb it, I will freak out about it. So I just don't let it grow.
Yeah. Yeah, I to be honest, I wasn't ever one of those people that wore like fancy clothes or anything like
Right.
that. And I didn't really give a fuck either, but I was stubborn with comfortability at that time. So if something I just didn't like it, I wasn't going to wear
Yeah.
it. And I was very
Oh.
stubborn about that. Like shorts, for example, like I never wore shorts like hardly ever when I was younger because I have such skinny legs. And
You do, but you have a skinny body in general, so
it's a curse. You tell that to the scale, 210 pounds.
So you're essentially saying we weigh the same?
Apparently. I gained 20 pounds.
We weigh
since
the same, but
quarantine.
there's like a 4-inch difference between the two of
Yep.
us.
But I've actually lost weight. I'm now at 207 because I've been working out. I've been doing some stuff just to kind of keep active, and
Yeah.
I bought a couple weights. Nothing major. I'm just trying to burn things off. And
That's how you can make your backyard more appealing. Just work out in the backyard.
if I had things to work out in,
Work
but
out in the
that's
boxers.
part of the reason why I wanted to apply for this job was I need something a little more prideful. Like I need something I can be invested a little bit more into work wise, so I can take pride in. I don't take pride in anything I've been doing for the past 2-3 years since DVs, and
For sure.
this doesn't mean anything to me. If it doesn't mean anything to me, then I'm not going to put myself into it. And I think that's the problem with kitchen jobs right now. Is
Yeah. No, for sure.
unless I open up my own kitchen or had my own say or something like that, I don't think I can be cooking anymore. And given that my flexibility isn't as lenient as it was, it's harder to get a job.
Yeah, children
in a
really
kitchen.
fuck that up.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't like working nights anymore. Like I haven't liked working nights for a long time. I only did it because it was the job.
Yeah.
But I prefer to have my nights or my evenings free. I still don't like having my weekends free, but it's starting to turn into something that's kind of more important now because of the kid.
Yeah.
Because we can't afford daycare, so
I feel you.
no. Anyway, should we talk about what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, kind of give a little more of some information about what we're going to be talking about. I stumbled upon sometime 5 days ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Somewhere like that.
Stumbled upon a documentary on Amazon Prime that was called Never Surrender.
Yep.
And it was about the movie Galaxy Quest. And it was a recent documentary. It was made in 2020.
Yeah.
And Galaxy Quest came out in
2008, I believe.
No, 99.
99. God,
Yeah.
am I that far off? Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
What did I see in 2008?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
listen to me.
it's an older film.
I got bad information.
Yeah, it came out in 99, but it's one of those films. Galaxy Quest is one of those films that it ages perfectly.
Yep.
And I think that's part of the thing I wanted to really talk about was that film. So we're going to kind of talk about that. But there's something else that kind of led into some more that I want to talk about as well. And that was, I watched Galaxy Quest. So I saw this documentary and I instantly was like, Never Surrender. I'm like, oh, God, yeah, what's that saying?
Yep.
It's like, never give up, never surrender. I'm like, so I wanted to watch Galaxy Quest right after I didn't even watch the documentary. I saw the documentary pass by when I was flipping, things. And
This is how you know Galaxy Quest is a good movie. It's got an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah, no, that was something I did some research about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
my God, this film is it's fantastic. But kind of get into that a little bit in a minute.
Yeah.
So I watched Galaxy Quest, and then I realized the cast that was in it. And then I also watched, right after Galaxy Quest, I watched Buckaroo Banzai, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. And I've never...
Across the Eighth Dimension.
Yep. I've never seen the film. And it was in 1984 is when that film came out. And the cast in that film was ridiculous
Gigantic.
too.
John
was like,
Lithgow.
Clancy Brown.
Peter
Wells.
Peter Weller.
Who was...
Jeff Goldblum, I think, is in it.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
I
can't remember the female lead.
Yeah, I can't
I'll
remember
look
her
it
name.
up real quick.
But I was just, it was ridiculous on the cast. I'm like, oh my goodness. Now, what I mean by this is a large cast, you have to be a film person to understand and appreciate these actors as the giants that they are. It's not like what you think having like, was it the Departure with Russell Crowe and, who else? Matt Damon, Russell Crowe, Robert De Niro, I think.
I don't remember that movie that well.
Jack Nicholson.
Ellen Barkin was the female lead in Buckaroo Banzai, by the way. That's Penny Pretty is her name in the movie.
Yep. But I watched those two back to back, and I was just like, the cast. And then it kind of made me go on like, what other movies have that large cast like that? And so I don't know.
There's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few out there.
I love movies that have large cast, especially before they become like this huge iconic person. And you look back and like, damn, like,
Yeah.
look how young they are. Look what they've done then.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about Buckaroo Banzai that I enjoyed, it wasn't like my favorite movie or anything, but I enjoyed the hell out of it, it was radical.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. It really went out there, far-fetched. But they did it. Oh, Christopher Lloyd was also in it.
Yeah, he's the second in command of John Lithgow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I was just like, my God.
I'm going to read the movie synopsis for the listeners' edification. Buckaroo Banzai is caught with his trusted allies, the Hong Kong Cavaliers,
Yup.
in a battle to the death between evil red aliens and good black aliens from Planet 10.
Yep.
Led by demonic dictator John Warfin, who has taken over the body of Italian scientist Dr. Emilio Lazzardo, the aliens try to get the overthruster back from Buckaroo Banzai. But the good black aliens are willing to destroy Earth rather than let these renegades return to their planet.
Yep.
That's the plot.
And it is.
That's what it said on the back of the box of the movie.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It's great, though. It is a really
It's a good
excellent
movie. It's a
film.
great movie.
It's fun. It's not taken serious. First of all, Buckaroo Banzai. For anybody who knows nothing about this film, or the main character by Peter Wells, who plays Buckaroo Banzai.
Yep.
So he is like a jack of all trades and a master of all.
Yeah.
He's essentially
a rock star, a scientist,
Yep.
an adventurer,
a doctor.
A doctor. Like he does like. There's one point where he's just playing the piano, and then like all of a sudden, I think he goes right into science. Somehow.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And a samurai.
Yeah,
and he's a samurai.
Yeah, and he's a samurai.
So he's a
that's
rock star samurai who's also a scientist and a doctor. Because like in the beginning of the film, that's where Jeff Goldblum comes. Mm-hmm. Like the very beginning of the film, he's doing surgery on somebody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then it goes right from surgery, he goes right into the rocket, into the science, where he's doing this, like, they're doing the whole dimensional space kind of thing in this car. And then he hops right into that, and he goes right into being a rock star. I'm like, the time does not work for anything that he does.
The movie is buck wild and just in every sense.
But it's good. It was fun. And like I said, 1984, I mean, I miss films like that. You don't have films like that. Now it's too serious. And if it's not serious enough or it's too unserious, it's off-putting to people. Mm-hmm. People can't enjoy themselves anymore.
Yeah, this is true.
Everything has to have a purpose now. It's like, God, come on. Live a little. But anyway, the point about that whole thing was I watched Galaxy Quest. It's not the first time. It's probably like the bazillion time I've seen it. But I love the film. And it was one of those, I haven't seen it for many years. And I think it was one of those reminders of how much I really do love the film and how much that film is fantastic. And it is a iconic film. It is it's turned into this cult classic kind of film. Yeah. And people love it. It's almost as much as, I mean, they do have Galaxy Quest conventions. It's not as big as like Star Wars or Star Trek conventions were, but you have people who, I guarantee you go to any Comic-Con convention, you'll find people from Galaxy Quest. Mainly for the aliens, the aliens. But so yeah, I just kind of wanted to get into it. So let's kind of get into Galaxy Quest. So Galaxy Quest, it's the name of the film. 1999 is PG. Which I'll actually get into that too a little bit. It's considered an adventure comedy sci-fi, which is not bad in my opinion.
No, not at all.
I love that. To me, that's like, if I'm looking at films and I just want to enjoy, I look for adventure comedy for sure. Mm-hmm. But I love my sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, when you can incorporate the sci-fi part and do it well, it is great.
The director was Dean Parisot. Parisot, I think is how you say his last name. And
something along those lines.
The films that he's known for is he actually did the most recent Bill and Ted's film.
The new one they're doing now? Or?
Yep. The one that's coming out. That is the film. That was his last directorial
credit? Yeah.
As he did the Bill and Ted Face the Music.
What's the Charlie Countryman? Which is a Shia LaBeouf movie, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I just know the name of the movie. I've never watched it.
Yeah, he has another film that was.
Oh, he was the director for Fun with Dick and Jane. With
Yes,
Jim
that's the one I was thinking of. Yep, that was the other one I was thinking of. Fun with Dick and Jane. I think there's also another one
he did Red 2.
Yep, that was the other one I was just about to say. He did.
I'm just looking at his IMDb credits.
I don't. I have it written down. I don't even have it up. But yeah, he did those, and Galaxy Quest was like he had done one film prior to that, and it did okay, but it wasn't his. Wasn't like a masterpiece or anything. It wasn't anything that really put him on a map. He just happened to be friends with, I think, one of the producers of the film, and he called him up and was like, "Hey, if you say yes right now, I can get you on this film." Originally, the director who was going to do it was Raimi Harris, or the Ghostbusters guy. What's his name?
Harold Ramis.
Thank you. I said it backwards.
Yep.
He was the guy who was on board. He was going to direct it to begin with. And when they were doing casting, they were sitting down. First of all, he changed a lot of things from the script. So Bob, or Robert, I can't remember his name, wrote the script. He had to do a lot of revisions for Harold. And he was looking for a main guy. And I guess that they sat down with Tim Allen, and he just didn't like him. He's like, well, first of all, I was like, no offense, but like, you're a comedian, and it's not what I'm looking for. And I guess he said he hadn't had a lot of luck with working with comedians.
Harold Ramis said that,
yep.
Or okay.
And he felt like there was a particular film, and I can't remember what it was, that he felt like it was with Robin Williams. He worked on a film with Robin Williams, and he said that the film kind of flopped, and he blamed himself for it because he didn't find Robin Williams' voice because he was being, he's doing his thing. So he apparently didn't want Tim Allen, but I guess everybody else did. They thought Tim Allen would be great. And so he backed out. He essentially just backed out. And then Dean came in and he made it his own, and everybody says that nobody would be able to do it the way, like, this film was supposed to be done the way that it's done, the way it was done, and it worked out perfectly. And the revisions that happened before kind of went back. So originally there was supposed to be a lot more violence and a little bit more like language, and it was going to go to a PG-13 rating. But I guess, especially Tim Allen, because he came off the Santa Claus film, which was more kid friendly. And Toy Story. He was looked at as a kid person, as a kid film guy, which is weird because he's not at all.
No, if you look at his stand-up,
Yep.
Well, especially in a couple of drug problems.
Yep. And so he pretty much had to keep it to PG. That's what they wanted to make it more kid friendly, make it more family friendly. And it definitely. It's impressive, but there's still a lot of explosions and stuff in that film.
Oh, for sure.
So this shows you the times have changed too, because you probably would have had to be a PG-13 now for suspense action. But they also, the rating system is
even the
just
bits
ridiculous.
of violence that are in there, just PG-13.
But today's rating
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like, they nitpick at everything. But they also have a section for everyone.
Yeah.
So, you know, NC-17 or 16 plus, or I'm just like, my goodness.
Side note, the movie that Harold Ramis talked about that flopped that with Robin Williams that he didn't he blamed himself for is Club Paradise.
Yeah, that was it. Yep.
1986.
Yep, Club Paradise. That's right. It flopped, and I guess Harold Ramis blames himself because he didn't capture Robin Williams' voice, comedic voice, and I guess he didn't want to do that again.
I can understand that.
I can, but I also think
working with Robin Williams versus like when he did, worked with, on Ghostbusters and stuff like that, like he probably doesn't. It's not used to working with a personality like Robin Williams was.
Not at all, and that's exactly what I looked at. Was like, I think that what it came down to is Harold. He was kind of a control freak. I think he wanted things to be his way, and because everybody said they wanted Tim Allen, and he just didn't see it.
I mean, as long as it was amicable, I mean, you can't really be mad at anybody for it.
No, but
Hopefully, he wasn't a dick about the whole thing.
apparently
He's
he
dead
kind
now,
of
so
was.
I try not to talk ill about the dead.
Yeah, if you watch the documentary,
Yeah.
they kind of show that he kind of was.
Damn.
Before we get too much further, do you have Galaxy Quest pulled up? Read the little synopsis.
The blurb.
Yeah.
One moment here.
Because that way people who haven't seen it kind of understand what this film and they can go see it. Because I think everybody should watch it.
So according to the IMDb synopsis reads, the alumni cast of a space opera television series have to play their roles as the real thing when an alien race needs their help. However, they also have to defend both Earth and the alien race from a reptilian warlord.
Yep.
Which is, the basic thrust of the movie is a bunch. Basically, it's like taking the cast from Star Trek and putting them actually in Star Trek without letting them know.
Yep. It is a very it's a satirical mockery of Star Trek, but not in a degrading way. It's meant as homage. Like it's meant to be.
It's an homage to.
It's respect and appreciation for what Star Trek is, but they're making fun of Star Trek to a point, but not at all in an offensive way.
Mm-hmm. They're poking fun, but at the same time letting the real
respect
the fans and what the respect and know how they feel about the show come through.
And so something that makes this film very interesting and very, I guess, different from a lot of the other films is when you're dealing with the kind of the levels of what the film is about. You have the show Galaxy Quest, the show in the movie. Yeah. So like we were just talking about Tim Allen and Sigorney Weaver and all that, who are playing these characters that are kind of a satirical version of Star Trek. So they are actors playing the show, and the show was this really successful show, but it's kind of dwindled away. And
I think in the beginning they're airing the unaired 90-second episode or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So it ran for a couple seasons, I guess, would be the right way to look at it.
And so now they're doing Comic-Con stuff, essentially, and
Comic-Cons
and signing autographs and stuff
like that, yeah.
But they're not working. None of them are working anymore. Yeah. And so they're kind of lost. But what makes them kind of keep doing it was the fans. The fans, they had these hardcore fans. Fans who loved the show and stuff like that. And then they get thrown into the real life version. Yeah. And you realize that it's not just humans on Earth who are fans.
Yeah.
These aliens who convince these guys to take over are also fans because they consider the show.
The aliens watch the show and don't understand that they're actors.
Nope.
They think they're actual heroes.
Yep. They think it's actual events, and they call them historical documents.
Yep. Yep.
And they think that these were actual people doing amazing things.
That line, the fact they call it historical documents, makes me think of Supernatural when they meet Chuck for the first time, and Cass says that he eventually will be the one, write the things that will become the Winchester Gospel. Mm-hmm. For some reason I always think of those two things in the same
you're talking about the books that he writes.
Yeah,
Chuck writes.
Yeah, Cass refers to the Supernatural books as becoming the Winchester Gospel. By
the way, the biggest foreshadowing in that show, not to get off sidetrack too long, but the biggest foreshadowing in that show was when Chuck answers his door, and there is Sam and Dean, and they start yelling at him and pissing, making him piss his pants about what he's doing. And he's like, well, that's just it. I'm God. So he tells everybody he's God before you find out that he's God. That. Yep, the biggest foreshadowing in that show. So the reason why I'm sure that they turned him into God is it wasn't planned. Right. I'm sure it wasn't planned. And they eventually did.
Minor side note, Dean Parasot, the first movie he directed was called Home Fries with Drew Barrymore and Luke Wilson.
Yep, yes. Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson, the less annoying Wilson brother.
Yep, a young Luke Wilson.
Very young. And Jake Busey, I think, is the other. I think Jake Busey is his brother.
Maybe.
I think.
I've never seen it.
I've seen parts of it.
I've seen clips of it. Yeah, I've never watched the whole thing. Because I like Luke Wilson. I went on a Luke Wilson kick.
Yeah, Jake Busey's his brother.
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to Galaxy Quest. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing about the film has to do with fans. It's not a film about these actors and about the show. It's a fan film.
Well, and
it happens to be a real life fan film as well.
And that's the thing. Like the fans are the most important part because, and this is gonna give away the end, but the movie's old enough at this point. If you haven't seen it, whatever. The fans are ultimately what saved the day.
Yes.
Because it's the three fans that are talking to the cast that actually end up getting them like the information they need to save the day in the end of the movie.
Yes, Justin Long. So
Justin Long. I can't remember who the other two are. But
so before we get too much further, let's just talk about the cast. Since I had mentioned that about Buckaroo Banzai. So the cast. When I say that this is a large cast, there's a reason why. At the time, there was only probably 3 big names. That people will probably really know. Now you could name every single person in that thing. Mm-hmm. But at the time, they weren't big. So to give the cast off, you have Tim Allen, who hopefully everybody knows who the hell Tim Allen is. Home Improvement was like the biggest thing that he had done. That's launched his career.
He's doing Last Man Standing now, which is like...
I actually think it ended.
Did it? I thought they brought it back. I thought maybe. They did. Maybe.
I don't remember.
It was basically Home Improvement without all the tools.
Well, yeah. So it was you take away his tools and you put him as an outdoor sports guy.
And make him a Republican.
You make him a Republican. Well, although I think Home Improvement had quite the Republican views.
Yeah,
but then again, Tim Allen is a
Republican. He's more of a Republican now. Where like
he's very voiced. Yeah, he voiced it. But then again, Tim Allen is a Republican. He was a huge Trump supporter.
Another reason I didn't like him.
But he was, his biggest roles were, it was Home Improvement, which launched his career, and then you had Toy Story, you had the Santa Clauses. Jungle to Jungle was one of the films I loved.
I love that movie. Yep. That's got Martin Short, who's another actor I love.
I mean, he's made his appearance out there, but he's really well known for Toy Story as Buzz Lightyear, the voice of Buzz Lightyear, and Tim the Toolman Taylor. Tim the Toolman Taylor, and then Santa Claus, not Jungle Jack, Santa Claus. So those are like his main films. Then you have Sigourney Weaver, Aliens. Yep. If you don't know Sigourney Weaver from playing Ripley from Aliens, go fuck yourself.
Right.
Go live under the rock you've been
Probably most recently, I think she was in The Defenders. She was the...
She was. Avatar. She's also the primary doctor in Avatar. But she's in a bunch of stuff.
Oh, she's in tons of stuff everywhere, but she's never done a lot of like big name stuff.
Aliens was probably the biggest thing, and Avatar is probably the biggest thing. I don't think I can recall anything else other than small little films here.
I always think of her now in Finding Dory because she's the voice of the aquarium.
See, and I always think of her in Cabin in the Woods because she plays the director, and you only see her at the end.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, and I love that movie.
I remember from The Ice Storm, but that was a really weird movie.
She's okay. I don't hate her.
She's a good actress. Yep. She's a great actress, actually.
Yep.
I don't know.
Now you have Alan Rickman. Now, Alan Rickman is one of those guys, at the time, you probably don't really know him unless you were a hardcore Die Hard fan, because he was the bad guy in Die Hard, the first film.
Rickman was doing a lot of, like, random stuff.
He's also Shakespearean. He's a theatrical guy.
He was, but Die Hard was probably his biggest known.
Was
Dogma out at that point?
Yep, Dogma came out in 95, and that was the other one.
Dogma was the other one.
But you had that was a particular audience, too.
Yeah.
So, once again, he's one of those where until Harry Potter, now everybody knows who the hell he is because he played Professor Snape. But back then, he wasn't a big...
What was it?
Guy. He was respected and
Bottle Rocket, I think, was another one. Where it was like a wine country movie, and he was like a wine critic or something like that. It was another movie that I remember seeing a lot of.
I don't know. I just know that, for him, it was his biggest role would be Harry Potter.
Yep.
And Die Hard.
Though, yeah, those two are probably the ones that he'll go down in history for. But he's another one that's done a ton of other shit. Hans
Gruber in Die Hard was his character. He was the bad guy in the first time. And then, obviously, like I said, Professor Snape's in Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic... I loved him in Dogma. In fact, out of all the films I've seen him in, his character in Dogma is my favorite as Metatron.
Yep.
The voice of God. It's funny, especially because when he presents himself to
Linda Florentine.
Yeah. I just love it. The whole scene is great. So,
I am a seraphim. What? An angel.
we'll have to do Kevin Smith films.
Sure.
One of these days.
Oh yeah, there's enough of them for sure. Tony Shalhoub.
Tony Shalhoub, and I love Tony Shalhoub. Back then,
Wings was probably the most
Men in Black. His biggest appearance was in Men in Black. He played the guy that Tommy Lee Jones, they walk into the jewelry shop, the pawn shop, and he's like, oh, how did these get here? Oh, and then Tommy Lee Jones shoots him in the head, and his head grows back. Yeah. So that is Tony Shalhoub. Other than that, his biggest, probably iconic role is Monk.
Yeah. Like I say, Wings is like at that point, Wings would have been the one I would have picked because he's a mainstay character on Wings through the whole series.
Yep. And but once again, he's one of those actors he's in a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So unless you're a big film person, you probably really wouldn't be able to pick him out back then. Like I said, Men in Black is probably the biggest film at the time
he was in. Bill Murray movie, and I can't remember what the hell it's called now. It was the one where Bill Murray robs a bank with Gina Davis and Randy Quaid. He plays a taxi driver that doesn't speak English, and Randy Quaid jumps out of the taxi.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't.
One of my favorite Bill Murray movies, by the way.
The other film around the same time was Polly, which is a beautiful film about the bird.
The bird, yes,
about the parrot. He's the main guy, and Jay Moore plays. He actually plays two roles in it. He plays the voice of Polly, and then he actually plays in the movie as like a scummy character.
Oh, interesting.
But that was probably the other film that he was known was Men in Black and Polly at the time. Later on, he would go and be in Spy Kids. He would go in 13 Ghosts, which I love.
Great
film
movie.
I love. A horror film, but Monk was probably his biggest iconic role.
Monk, I think that's fantastic. That's one of those defining characters that he will always be remembered.
Adrian Monk, and it's a great show. I love Monk.
Yeah, very good show.
By the way, Alan Rickman was also in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He plays the voice of the manically depressed robot.
Oh, nice.
That's his voice. So it's a little fun fact because I enjoyed the movie, although it's not really close to the book.
Right.
I enjoy the movie. It's got a great cast. Now, the next person that I'm going to mention has made quite the success in his career, and he's in a lot of stuff, but still to this day, he's a respected actor.
Yeah.
But he's not, you say his name, and a lot of people may not know who he is still to this day. And
he's the kind of guy you miss.
Yeah, and that's Sam Rockwell.
Yep. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is probably the only one I can think of where he was the main actor.
Well, he's got a couple roles,
but that's just the one that comes to mind.
Yeah. But he is an incredible actor, and he has the appraisal for our many, many films by many, many actors. People love him as a human being, I guess, and as an actor. He's a talented person. And the films that I've seen his career over the years in films, and I love Sam Rockwell.
He's a great actor. I liked him in Seven Psychopaths.
Yeah. Yep. I love his.
That movie in general was good.
That is a great. I mean, Christopher Walken though.
Yeah, Christopher Walken stole the show, but
he plays the mysterious guy.
Yeah.
He's why is this guy so good at what he does, kind of thing, and he also plays psychos. He plays killers very well.
Yeah. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Yeah, and then he was also Mr. Right. You ever see that with Anna Kendricks? It was good. He plays a hitman.
Oh, yes. I've seen previews for it on. I saw that it was on Amazon or something.
Watch it. It's good.
Is it?
I enjoy it. He plays a badass, but
nice.
It's good. He plays he's a hitman that doesn't. He's kind of bored with what he's too good at his job.
Right.
And then he kind of falls for this girl, and he's being completely honest with her, but she doesn't
believe him.
Well, doesn't take it all in very well.
Oh.
But it's a very interesting film, and it was fun.
He was also in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's what I was going to say with Alan Rickman. Yep.
Zaphod Beetlebrox?
Something Zaphod. Or Zed, I think is Zeb. Anyway, he plays the
two-headed guy.
The two-headed guy, the guy who steals the ship and is the mayor. Yep. Another iconic role for him, really, because he's good. His at the time that Galaxy Quest came out, I'd probably say that he just got done doing the Green Mile.
Oh.
Yep, and he was also in Midsummer Night's Dream. Those
Oh,
are
yes,
probably
that's
the
right. He
films-
was one of the actors.
Yep, those are probably
Yep.
the two films that kind of were like his big thing at the
Talk
time.
about a star-studded cast.
Right. Yeah. Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah.
Yep. He also
Yeah, Zayfive Beeble Brooks.
he also his cinematic debut film was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
He plays the lead thug
Yeah.
guy with all the kids where he's showing people around.
Yeah, he's the tour guide essentially.
Yep.
And like, you got any smokes?
Yep.
Well, regular or menthol?
That's Sam Rockwell right there, folks. Also, Michael J. White is in that film. He plays an extra that nobody would know about. He's just standing in line waiting to audition for the ninja.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
He's a big old black guy. He's, I think, 18 years old or something like that. He was also in the film, the guy with the mop. He's a horror superhero. Toxic Avenger. He was also a bad guy in Toxic Avenger.
Sam Rockwell or Michael J.
No,
White?
Michael J. White.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
But his biggest iconic role was Spawn.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yep. Anyway, we're not talking about that. So yeah, Alan Rickman would go and play in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with Sam Rockwell.
Yep.
Not really sharing scenes or stage because Alan Rickman was a voice, but that's not the point. They're in the same film. You find that there's a lot of crossovers between these actors.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool. Tony Shalhoub was in several of those, but the other guy that you would kind of recognize if you knew films was Enrico Colantoni, I think.
Colantoni.
He plays the lead alien guy. I can't remember his alien name, but he plays the lead alien guy. And
there's two shows you'd probably recognize him from.
And one of them was, I love this show, was Just Shoot Me.
Yeah, he was the photographer.
Yep, he plays the lead photographer. He also played he was the womanizer in the show.
I always remember the episode where Tyra Banks was on, and he kept getting injured or different things kept happening, so he basically terrified Tyra Banks to the point where she ran away, even though he had a huge crush on her. He would get he got something stuck in his throat, so he was just making squeaking noises at her, and then she threw hot coffee in his face.
Yeah. Well, some of the other films that he's been in that, one of the films, it was Stigmata, and it's an older film. Stigmata. Yep, definitely a 90s film.
I know the movie, I just can't remember.
Yep, he plays Father Dario.
Oh.
I seen the movie years and years ago, and
yeah, it's been a long
I
time.
Definitely remember him being in there, and Just Shoot Me was probably the one thing. He's got one of those phases. He's in a lot of stuff, but
he's in Veronica Mars too. Is the other show he does.
He's never a primary character. Nope. He's always just
a supporting character,
or he's just a blip, And he's a good actor. In fact, I think he went to Juilliard or something like that. He went to some Ivy League school for acting, and I'm just amazed he hasn't done more. But I guess he might have been one that went to theater and stuff too. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But the other thing that I remember seeing him in, as soon as I saw that movie, I'm like, I know that guy, was AI, artificial intelligence.
See, I never watched that movie.
It's good. It's really
I've heard
good.
good things. It's just one of those ones.
It's a long film, but it's really good. He plays. So Jude Law plays a robot that is he's a prostitute. He's a prostitute sex working robot, and he goes and he's sleeping with this woman, and he goes into this woman's bedroom or hotel room or whatever, and there's blood everywhere, and he thinks that she's crying because he doesn't understand that she's dead.
Oh.
And the man that had killed her was her husband, and that is Enrico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As soon as I saw his face, I'm like, I know that guy. Once again, he's just kind of a blip, though. He's only in there for 2-3 minutes. So the other guy, which I recognized him right away, but it took me a few minutes to go, why do I know that face? Was Patrick Breen.
I was just looking at him.
Yep. So Men in Black was the film that I recognized him in the most. Like when I saw that face, I'm like, that face looks familiar.
And that's one of the things that pops up.
Yep.
Is Men in Black.
He plays in the beginning of Men in Black when they go into the
running
first.
Away from Will Smith?
No. So when Will Smith joins Men in Black in their first mission, their first thing on duty is they go. There's a guy trying to leave the state, and he's driving like a little station wagon, and his wife's pregnant. That's the guy. He's the husband, and it's just squid. It's like, congratulations, you have a squid. That is him.
Okay.
Yep. And he plays in Galaxy Quest. He plays kind of an important role because there's a scene that shifts Alan Rickman's character. And I don't want to really give anything away.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
I know, we're all about spoilers, but I just don't... I don't know. This is a film everybody should watch.
The other two actors, were you done talking about Patrick Breen?
Yep, that's all I had for him. I've seen him in some other stuff, probably, but Men in Black was the only thing I remember.
Robin Sachs was a recurring character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Ethan Rayne was Giles' old running partner.
It's been a while since
he essentially unleashes the demon that turns everybody, starts making people regress into their younger versions. Like when Giles starts acting like a thug again, and
I'd have to rewatch that. It's been a long time since I watched.
He's a recurring. He also turns Giles into a demon at some point. But yeah, so he was I remember him from Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a recurring character, and then Missy Pyle.
Yep, I have her on here.
She's in shitloads of stuff.
So she's really recognizable. She's a very distinct face, and one of the films that you will definitely recognize her in was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Willy Wonka, the Johnny Depp version, the Tim Burton version. Yeah. She plays Veruca's mother.
No, I take that back. She plays Violet's mother.
Violet's mother. Yeah, the one who is just obsessed. And
the competitive one.
Competitive one. Yes. So that is her. The thing I remember her also in was 50 First Dates. She was one of the dates that Adam Sandler was going on, and he just couldn't sleep with her. She knew she was there on vacation. She knew what he was going to do. She was hoping to get laid, so she drinks this giant fishbowl. There's no alcohol in it, but she thinks there is. She's like, "Oh, am I getting a little tipsy?" It's there's no alcohol in there. And she ends up sleeping with that transgender assistant, that Swedish transgender assistant.
It's been a long time since I saw.
That's her. She's one of those faces though.
She's also in Dodgeball, although she's got a lot of makeup in Dodgeball. You might not recognize.
What was her name?
One.
Franz.
Yeah,
something.
Franz. I'm literally looking at her.
Yep, she's the ugly, hideous one.
Yeah, she's got
the mole and buck teeth.
She's the one that falls in love with. Yeah, she falls in love with the really geeky one on the other team, whose name escapes me. But he was the one that he's also in Grandma's Boy as the programmer that everyone hates. Yeah. That thinks he lives in the Matrix.
The tall, skinny guy. I can't remember his name either. Yep.
The not Justin Long one.
Yep. He's also an Avatar. So once again, that chick, keep that in mind because of Friends and Dodgeball. To bring that next to is she starred with Justin Long in Dodgeball.
Yep.
And Justin Long made his cinematic debut in Galaxy Quest.
Yep.
As Kevin, I think.
Brandon
as the lead. Him and his friends
the
lead nerd. Yep, and
fanboy. I guess would be the proper term.
Yep, but he was 21 years old, I think, when he did that.
About right.
And that was his first cinematic debut ever. Was in Galaxy Quest as Brandon the fanboy.
Him and the other two nerds that are with him are
Jeremy Howard,
who you've seen but probably don't know. I think he was in Accepted with Justin Long.
He was in Accepted. Actually, he's been in quite a bit of stuff too. But he was the guy who wanted to blow shit up with his mind.
Yeah. Well, I always remember when he gets locked in. Is this a test?
Yep. Is this the test? That's the end of the film. I think. No, that's not the end.
That's when he's eating the Glen wad.
Yeah.
He walks away.
Yep. And he locks it.
Test?
Just a test. Yeah. That's him.
That guy. Yeah.
He's been in some other stuff too. But
it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I know he's been in other stuff.
But he was in Men in Black.
God, who hasn't been in Men in Black apparently? What the fuck?
Well, I think he was number 2, maybe Men in Black 2. He he's the bird guy. He's like the long, skinny bird guy.
That sounds about right. I mean, he's built for it.
Yeah,
so.
I remember the face and the figure, but yeah, you would obviously never know it was him. He was also Donatello in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the remake.
Oh, the remake. I was going to say, not in the original
one.
No,
he was the voice.
He was born in 1981, so he'd have been 6.
No, he was the voice of Donatello in the new Ninja Turtles.
That makes sense. He's got the voice for it.
Actually, they go and star in, I think, another film too.
Who?
Justin Long and him, but I can't remember. I just know that Acceptance. So there's a lot of crossovers, like I said. A lot of crossovers. Jed Reese. He was one of the aliens. He was the squinty-eyed alien. He played in Deadpool as the recruiter. He also played in The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, yes. I know this guy.
Those are only 2 films I know him in.
Yeah. They credit him as being in Elizabethtown with Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst, but I don't remember him in that. I saw it once. Good movie. I don't remember him. But it seems like it might have been one of those things it was probably pretty forgettable in.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to have forgotten about that movie, so...
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's good. Watch it. It's worth at least one watch.
The other guy I had on here was JP... Was it Mannix? He played one of the alien guys.
There were a lot of these alien guys.
Yep. He was in Eurotrip as the robot.
What was his name?
Mannix? I don't know how to say.
Why can't I find him?
JP Mannix. Yeah, he was the silver robot guy.
Oh, JP. I think Manu is how you pronounce that.
Eurotrip was the one that he played the breakdancing robot. Yeah. I also remember him.
He's in tons of stuff.
Yeah, I also remember him in Knocked Up because he played the doctor in Knocked Up, one of the doctors before Ken came into the picture.
Ken Jeong.
And then he was in How I Met Your Mother as not Moby, and I remember that episode a lot.
Not Moby?
Yeah, because he plays pretty close resemblance to Moby.
Yeah,
he shave his head and he looks just like Moby.
Yeah.
Put glasses on him and, what do you know? That's a Moby lookalike.
Oh, man. I know he's done a lot of stuff. I can't remember.
He's just not a main distinctive person.
Yeah, he's another guy that's
gets
always
lost in the
supporting
crowd.
Guy.
Yep, he gets lost in the crowd. If he ever makes an appearance on film or something like that, you could probably recognize him, but he definitely gets lost in the crowd.
Community is Phoebe.
Yep.
That's right, yeah.
Yep, he plays Ken's assistant. Like, he plays one of his bad guys. The other guy...
What?
Oh, go for it.
I don't know. I was just going to say something random. Don't worry about it.
The other guy that is very iconic, but once again, not everybody would probably know who he is. And I love this guy in some of the films that he's been in and some of the stuff I've seen him in, was Kevin McDonald.
I know that name
He only
too.
makes a blip, though, and it's towards the end. He plays the announcer when they crash through the auditorium or whatever for the convention, and he's the guy at the podium talking, and these people are coming out at the end. He's a blip. You don't even really see him very long. He's just a blip, but I will always recognize that guy. His biggest thing was he was in Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
His other thing was in Senior Trip, which he plays the crossing guard. Now, this is the greatest part. He plays a big Star Trek nerd in Senior Trip, where he has a little mannequin, like a little sex doll with him.
yeah, he's got a blow-up doll that he dresses up like Lieutenant Uhura.
Yep, and he's dressed in a Star Trek as like...
He's a red shirt. I think he's
wearing... I thought he was wearing yellow.
No, he's wearing yellow. Sorry,
I thought he was trying to play like William Shatner's character.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be the character. Yeah,
yep.
I'm remembering the way I think it should be. But
and then he's in Galaxy Quest as just a blip, which is also supposed to be a respect.
I just saw them credit somebody in this movie that I would not have... Rainn Wilson is in this movie.
He's on my list. He's next.
Which I did not know about, but I swear I just saw Corbin Bleu in here somewhere.
That name sounds familiar.
He was from High School Musical. Yeah. Corbin Bleu played young Tommy.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Not that I know who that is offhand, but like he was...
Young Tommy, so... Tommy was the black guy. So when the show was on, in the actual show, Galaxy Quest show, he was the driver, but he was a young...
Yeah, see, the pilot,
young space pilot.
So, yeah, Corbin Bleu's probably most well known for High School Musical, which I never would have watched, but I mean, if you were Anybody who's probably in their 20s at this point probably knows High School Musical. Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens. Yeah.
I just recently watched it. That was a waste of an hour.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it. I thought it was stupid.
Did you have Sam Lloyd on your list?
No, I don't have Sam Lloyd.
Sam Lloyd will forever be remembered as Ted from Scrubs. Dr. Kelso's like the attorney that worked at the hospital in Scrubs.
I know who you're talking about, but who was he in the...
He played... Nero? So I think another alien. But,
yeah, I don't remember.
But just, he's one of those guys that like, another guy that's just a blip most of the time. But yeah, Sam Lloyd will forever be known as Ted from Scrubs.
I love Scrubs.
I'm not a sad sack, am I?
Going to Rainn, because you mentioned Rainn Wilson. Rainn Wilson's first cinematic debut, is also in Galaxy Quest.
I didn't mean to ruin that one. Sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't know how far your list went.
To make this a little bit more specific, Rainn Wilson says that it's his first LA audition. So when he first moved to LA, this was his very first audition. And he was supposed to have a bigger part in the film, but he had to leave because he wrapped up all of his scenes, but he had to leave because he decided he was going to go do some other job, which was horrible and failed. And so 2 cinematic debuts. Rainn Wilson, who goes off and does The Office as Dwight. He's in a bunch of stuff too. He's really good.
He's been doing a lot of movies that he's done really well in.
Yeah, I mean he's good.
He's a good actor.
He's not. He definitely doesn't get like tied down to one particular character either.
He's been doing some very odd roles.
I liked him in The Last Mimsy, which is it's a kind of hidden gem.
Yeah.
He was also
good. His role, though it was very limited, was good in Hesher.
Yep.
With Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yep. That was a very interesting film.
Yeah.
Where it's just about a guy who doesn't give a shit about anything but himself.
Yeah, he was an anarchist, essentially.
Yep. He didn't give a fuck about anything. I mean, he forces himself into the dude's house and lives there.
And Rainn Wilson does nothing about it.
Nothing at all. He's just like, oh, okay. Because he plays the father.
Yeah, the father who's still
the absent-minded father.
He's still mourning the mother's death. I think that's what he's doing.
I have that film.
He's still in mourning, and he's detached from everything. Yeah. Like the grandmother is basically parenting the child.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting film.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, kind of ended very...
Odd.
Yeah. But anyway, Rainn Wilson is not bad.
The drummer was okay. I thought that was kind of funny, at least.
Where he was the ex-Fish drummer.
Yeah.
He was the drummer for Fish. Got kicked out.
And then I liked him in Super.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Super. I had to think about it. Super, yeah. It was
I
okay.
Liked him in that. I thought
the
that
film
was good.
That was James Gunn.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Gun Show.
It wasn't bad. His role was as a superhero kind of thing was interesting.
I feel like it was a more because I feel like at the same time Defendor with Woody Harrelson came out.
Yeah.
And I feel like Defendor was supposed to be funny, whereas Super was not.
Yeah, Super was more serious and dark.
Yeah.
And Defendor was dark and comical.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who played the bad guy in that? Where he throws
Super or Defendor?
Defendor, I think, where he throws the vial of bees at him. he was Casey Jones and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Elias Koteas.
Thank you. He's in a bunch of stuff too. Yeah. Super good actor.
Skinwalkers, I think, was the other movie I can really think of. He was also in the first Prophecy.
Okay, Prophecy. I think I remember.
Which is probably one of my favorite Christopher Walken movies.
In one of those detective shows, like Law and Order kind of stuff. I don't know which particular one, but
Elias Koteas is probably the poor man's Christopher Maloney.
I could see that. God, speaking of Christopher Maloney, dude, Happy. You ever watched Happy?
I watched at least about halfway through the first season.
Oh God, it's great. I love it. I love it. I'm almost done with the second season. That's why
he's on Chicago PD.
That's what
the cop show.
Chicago PD. Sorry. Anyway, so Kevin McDonald was also his other big role was Lilo and Stitch. He plays the voice of the skinny alien.
And he was in Sky High too.
I was just gonna say Sky High as Mr. Mandela. He was also an epic movie, which I remember him making a little cameo as Harry Potter. Just once again, that was a little blip. But
really, I got out of those weird like spoof movies. Like I stopped watching after like Scary Movie 2.
Epic Movie was one of those I watched when it came out because I was working at the theater.
Sure.
So I won't, I saw it. That 70s show though, as Father something or Pastor Dave.
I never watched much of that 70s show. I tried. I just couldn't get into it.
He probably was more towards like early mid seasons of it.
Kind of where Tommy Chong kind of came in too.
Yeah, probably. But that was the other big thing. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's just never really made it. His biggest role, I think, iconic thing was Kids and All.
Yeah. So and I think honestly, it sounds like he's probably okay with that. Like,
yeah, he's never.
It's not like he's not working. I mean, he's constantly working. Just
I think he's like almost 60 now. So he's definitely kind of done whatever he.
I feel like I heard that they might bring the Kids in the Hall back.
I heard that too.
I hope they don't.
But I also been hearing that for a little while.
Yeah.
Who knows? You'd have to look it up on his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Galaxy Quest. That's the cast. So it's a large cast.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that if you're a film person, you would definitely recognize a lot of these people, and it's such a great film. You need to watch it. It's got a lot of respect for being a true Star Trek film. In fact, the documentary is excellent. Never started to watch it because Will Wheaton, who plays in Star Trek,
does he narrate it?
And narrate the documentary?
Yeah.
No, he's in it.
What is it?
Yeah, I like him as a narrator. He reads a lot of the books I listen to on Audible. But he talks about it, and he says, like, he was in Star Trek, so he would know. He was with Patrick Stewart when he was captain.
Yeah. Next Generation. Yeah.
So Will Wheaton says, like, this is, like, the epitome of what Star Trek is about. This is also the fan film. This is a fan film. This is made by fans and all of that of Star Trek. So it does well. It's a really excellent documentary. It's really excellent to just film in general. So give it a go. You gotta give it a go. It did really well too. So the release date was, weirdly enough, it was a Christmas date. So it was December 25th in 1999 is when it came out.
Interesting.
It seems really odd to come out, that kind of film to come out during Christmas, but their whole point was Tim Allen. They wanted to push Tim Allen because of the Christmas film, the Santa Claus films.
Yeah,
and him being a family-friendly thing.
Santa Claus probably would have been playing on TV at that point. So.
Yeah, so they were trying to push it for that, that reason. And something that impressed me the most was the budget was $45 million. That is a large budget for the 90s.
Yo, yeah.
But they did not waste a dime because it shows the graphics were really good for its time. It was a really well done set films and all this stuff. And the cast probably didn't get paid a whole lot. I'm sure Tim Allen was probably the highest paid one there, if not Sigourney Weaver. But I guarantee they didn't probably ask for a ton.
Rickman at that point probably didn't have the pull in Hollywood to get a lot of money.
He would have probably made at that time maybe $200,000.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver were the biggest names, so they would have been the ones that would have made the most in the millions or whatever. But I guarantee they probably wouldn't have made or asked for a lot at the time either.
Sure.
Especially because Tim Allen wanted to do it. He wanted to do this film.
Did he?
Yep. Steven Spielberg visited the set because it was under his production company.
Oh, interesting.
And they also used motion picture and lights or whatever, which is George Lucas's animation company that he created himself in the middle of making Star Wars.
Man, I gotta hire some people. I'll just hire myself.
Well, essentially what it came down to was George Lucas wanted to do the effects and do the sounds and all this and the visual things, but there wasn't a company out there that doing stuff or did what he wanted to get done. So he decided he was going to do it himself, and he created his own company.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that George Lucas did for that. We should talk about Star Wars. I have a lot of things about George Lucas. I had to do an entire paper on him, or I chose to do an entire paper. I got an A+. So
Yeah. I got an A+.
I was very proud of that paper. But this is something that kind of shocked me was how little it really did back. It did make it double the money, but it's technically kind of considered a little bit of a flop. It was a box office.
Considering the cast, it didn't blow the doors off of anything.
No, it was 90 million, 90.7 million that it got back for box office.
Yeah, so I mean,
It made its money back, which is really all they ever care about. But that means that it didn't do as well as they thought it would. And I think even Tim Allen mentioned this in the documentary. He feels like it just wasn't marketed right. It's not that they didn't do it poorly. They just didn't really seem to do it right to really promote what the film was about. Because they were trying to promote it to a family kids movie, and it wasn't just a kids movie.
I feel like sci-fi in general runs into that problem. I think that's probably ultimately what ended up happening to Firefly. Like, to some degree, like they were pushing it in the wrong direction because no one understood it. Like, or the people they were pushing it to weren't getting it.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't talk about Firefly.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just the easiest way to
and you're right.
compare it. Like,
you're right. It was pretty much the studios kicked Firefly off because they were like, well, there's nothing too special about it.
Right.
And it's like there's other shows on TV that are doing very similar.
Yeah.
And
this is nothing, or they're doing better than this.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
And for Joss Whedon, I mean, his success was Buffy, and they just he was changing his style into sci-fi because it was a drastic change.
Yeah.
And it just they felt like it wasn't what they needed right at the moment for television, but they were poorly mistaken.
Right.
Because it's still today, and we've mentioned this a couple times now in our podcast. It's a sore subject for anybody.
Yeah.
And that's a big nerd or loves Firefly. It's a sore subject, and TV history. So
Yeah.
the ratings, though, you mentioned the ratings earlier, so I was very shocked, and I feel like I can't say I was very shocked. I think I was shocked but happy about it to know that it stood that you said 89%
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
And a 70 on Metacritic, which I've never really heard of, but
70. Yeah, I haven't heard.
I don't know
either.
Metacritic that well.
IMDb was 7.3 out of 10, which I feel like it should have been higher.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. Maybe I don't know what their reasonings, but Rotten Tomato was impressive. So Rotten Tomato, if anybody doesn't know, because Rotten Tomato hasn't been around for all that long. I don't really know when they originated, but
No, but they definitely have become the website to go to when you need to know.
it's
stats.
public.
Yeah.
Because what it is it's fan base. It's public. It's the people who are criticizing or critiquing or whatever it is, saying whether or not this film is worth watching or if they liked it or not. So it's based off of the people. That's what makes Rotten Tomatoes so important for people, is because it's people based. People judging this. And the fact that 89%, that's super high. I think Deadpool was one of the few other films that I can think of off the top of my head that got 90% on Rotten Tomato.
That's not surprising, I guess.
You would think it's not surprising. I actually thought people would hate it, but not everybody's like me. So, but yeah, it's or maybe it got 100. I don't know. I don't remember what it was for Deadpool, but I know that it's tough when the people are judging.
Yeah.
They're kind of nasty. I feel like they're worse than critics are.
Yeah.
Because at least critics try to give more of a reasoning.
Yeah.
People will just say, I didn't like it.
Well, critics will give you at least reasons that are legit.
Yeah.
Where it's just instead of someone going, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's the real change or the real difference, I think.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Well, for to kind of wrap up this episode, what is it that you like the most about this film? Do you have some scenes that you like the most? Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite character?
I mean, I gotta say, Rickman is probably my favorite because it's such a drastic change, from beginning to end. Because in the beginning he hates that everyone remembers him for this one role.
Yup.
He's basically playing a version of himself that got typecast into one spot.
Yes.
Because he's like in the movie he's a Juilliard or like a Shakespearean actor
Yep.
who did this show and then didn't get anything else.
Yep.
And no one remembers anything else he's done.
Yep.
And people are coming up and like giving his little speech that he uses like by Grapthar's hammer or some such shit.
Yeah, pretty much doing the same thing. That he's the Spock.
Yeah, he's the Spock. He's the
Star
alien.
Trek.
Like he's got the head, the head covering.
weird
it's
octopus
like,
kind of.
yeah, it's like a frill or something like that. But yeah, and then he, not to spoil it, but there's an event that happens that changes his
Appreciation for what his
it basically just
kind of role
galvanizes him into really taking the nuances of the character he played and embodying them a little bit more,
making it more purposeful again.
Yeah, and
he found purpose for his character
Yeah.
again, actually.
Yeah, it became more of a driving force at the end,
And that's what I mentioned before, that pinnacle point where
Yeah.
he really changes, and it's very appropriate.
And so that he's probably my favorite.
Yeah. Alexander Dane was his character.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have him down as my favorite
Yeah,
character.
he'd probably be my favorite. I mean, obviously Tim Allen is great in the role he plays, but I mean he's also like, if you look at the movie just from the outside and see what it's about, you probably kind of assume that Tim Allen's change is coming. Like the whole thing about Tim Allen's character, even Sigourney Weaver's character, are kind of like broadcast pretty early on that they're gonna come around or whatnot. But,
Well, and Sigourney Weaver's character isn't. Well, Sigourney Weaver in general, she's just a co-star, and she's not that. She's a big name, but she's not a very important character.
No.
She really isn't. Compared to Tim Allen or even Alan Rickman, those two are.
they have legit changing moments.
But
in
they're
the
also
movie.
they're the Spock and they're the Shatner. Kirk.
Kirk. Yeah,
Yep.
Picard, that was the wrong guy.
Wrong guy. Captain Kirk and Spock. So they're the primary because there's that relationship and that tension, and those are the two primary characters on Star Trek.
Yeah,
so
Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen just have like that weird like will they won't
love
they
connection.
thing.
Yeah. Yep. And they even joke around in it
Yeah.
in the film. It's like, oh, there's a rumor that you guys hooked up. No, we did not. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Alan Rickman's character, because he's English too.
Yeah. I will say Tony Shalhoub is probably the most understated and probably one of the gems of the movie.
He's my second.
Just because he's so lackadaisical about everything.
He's my second. It's Alan Rickman and Tony Shalhoub's character. Those are my two favorites.
Shalhoub plays his character like he's on Quaaludes the entire time.
He really does. It's like he's checked out and he's just there for the ride.
Nothing phases him at all, ever.
So
The only thing that he get an actual reaction from is when he and Missy Pyle start making out and the tentacles come up.
And Sam Rockwell's response to that was great.
I can't remember what it was.
He said, like, oh, that's not right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all. That's all he says. Yep.
That's the only time you see Shalhoub do anything other than...
Right? Yeah, even, like, yeah. So the thing about that was he didn't have a lot of dialogue.
Nope.
In general, like in the documentary, he mentioned it's like, yeah, he was just a character that we needed. And
He was the George Takei, essentially. Because in the movie, his name is Tony Khan.
He's not the George K. He was the engineer, so he was Scotty.
Oh, yeah. Well, I meant in so much, I think he was supposed to be the Asian guy. Because, like, if you watch in the beginning of the movie when they're doing the episode, he runs up and says something and he goes, and they squint at the screen. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, he's just the engineer guy, but
That's right. Yeah, he was the engineer. But yeah.
like, for example, that's a perfect example of when they're talking about that the beryllium had cracked, and when he's like talking to the captain about what they should do, he's like, what's wrong? And he's just like, well, this thing is just kind of like messed up and all, and
right.
they're saying we should really kind of reroute this and do this, and maybe it'll work. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. And he's like, yeah, good job, guys. High five. Bring it in. And then when they do the little space jump thing, and because he's the last to get shipped to get
That's right. Yep.
ported up.
The goop or whatever.
Yep. And he's
Isn't
just
he
like
sleeping or something?
No, he's just he went to go get like a like something from the vending machine or something like that. And he's like, anybody got a quarter? And he turns around, and they're all gone. And then like a few minutes later, when everybody else is up on board, like shocked, he comes up and he's like, that's a hell of a thing. And he's okay. Everybody else is like traumatized and in shock and freaking out. And he just comes in with ease. The other thing I liked the most was when they were driving to get the Brilliant and the little space pod thing, and he's sitting there smiling while they're about to crash kind of thing, eating popcorn. He's just smiling like he's enjoying himself. So I agree. I think that his character...
He's the hidden gem of the movie.
He is. He really, really is. And that was what the director said, was like he didn't have a lot of lines, but he didn't need it because I trusted him to be that physical. What he couldn't do in lines, he would make up in physicality, and he did not disappoint.
Right.
Yes, I love it. But anything else you want to say about this film? What are some of your favorite scenes that you can recall?
Oh shit. Well, obviously the scene where, well, fuck it, we're just gonna have to give it away. When the alien that was a huge fan of Rickman's ends up dying in Rickman's arm, and that's where Rickman actually has his like moment of epiphany, and he actually gives the speech for real.
Yeah.
And he stands up and starts whooping ass.
Yep, that pinnacle point, yep.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best scenes, but yeah, I think Tony Shalhoub probably, anything where Tony Shalhoub actually got a moment to shine out is probably one of my favorite scenes. But yeah, I don't know. Fuck. The beginning, I think, when you were first introduced to the aliens and like the lead alien, who's Mathazar, I think is his name.
Mathazar, yeah, that's his name. That's right, Mathazar. That's Enrico.
Just the way he's speaking.
Yep.
And the fact that like Tim Allen doesn't even register and just kind of blows him up, I think it's really funny.
So Enrico created that entire alien mannerism.
Really?
Yep. So the voice, he said that it's a technique that he used in Juilliard school, whatever, was to do all the registers, and it's just an exercise.
Interesting.
And so he was doing it one day, and that was the voice that came out. So I guess when he auditioned, he just didn't feel, it just wasn't there, and I guess casting director was like, or the director, whoever was casting him, was like, yeah, it's like, is there something wrong? It's like, yeah, can I try something else? I had something else in my mind that I wanted to do, and that's what they did. He's like, you got it. And then he created this mannerism as well.
Because they all walk very stiffly.
Yep. He created the entire mannerisms for the race, and everybody just loved it and adapted to it. So
that's
kind of cool.
That's
Especially the clapping, like that is just. It's great.
That is a great movie.
I definitely agree. I think just about anything that Tony Shalhoub is in, any scene, it's just great. I do like a handful of Alan Rickman's scenes as well. Mainly like when they're sitting around on the table and they're eating, and the aliens, like Mathazar is saying, is like, I think Tim Allen's eating a steak. He's like, oh my god, this is delicious.
Food from their home world.
It's like, this is delicious. This is like Iowa grain beef right here. And he's like, yeah, we used the historical documents to recreate your home planet or homeland's
That's right.
meal. And Alan Rickman gets these little insect bug things, and one of them just jumps off his spoon back into the water. So he's like, oh, how do you like it? It's like, just like Mom made it. Nope. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then, I mean, when they were talking about other people that they've tried to recruit off of Earth, and they're like, it's like Gilligan's Island is like, oh, those poor people. And that's when they run. So these aliens got Gilligan Island people to come and try to help them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, those are probably my two favorite scenes that kind of come to mind.
That's funny.
So, yeah, I don't have anything else to say, man. It's a good movie. Must watch it.
Definitely.
I feel like that this comes into a list of films that I have like top 5 films that like every boy or every child should watch.
Sure.
And it kind of sticks as an adult as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Princess Bride, Big Trouble in Little China. I even put the Goonies up in there.
Yeah. Goonies never say die.
Yeah, and I think that this has got to be up there. Galaxy
Yep.
Quest. This definitely will bring like the sci-fi department, because you have Princess Bride, which is fantasy. You have Big Trouble in Little China, which is fantasy, but it's like modern fantasy.
Yeah. Urban fantasy. I think
urban
would be
fantasy.
the proper way to say it nowadays.
And then you have the Goonies, which is adventure.
Adventure, yeah.
And pirate adventure kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then sci-fi. So I have to think about the other one. There is one out there, and I just can't think of it at the moment. But yeah.
Secondhand Lions.
Oh, that's a great film.
Yeah.
That's a great film. Anyway.
I know we talked about trying to come up with some other movies ahead, just like
A big cast.
big fucking crazy casts. I got a couple of them here. Mars Attacks is probably
Oh God,
the
Tim Burton.
next movie he just shot his wad on
goodness.
fucking casting.
Was it Jack Nicholson?
Oh, there's
Michael J.
Nicholson,
Fox.
Nicholson, Glenn Close, Annette Bening, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, Martin Short, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michael J. Fox, Tom Jones,
Yeah,
Natalie
Tom Jones,
Portman. I don't know who Rod Steiger is
Yeah,
offhand. but
Natalie
he's
Natalie
listed
Portman,
in-
I think, plays the daughter, the president's
Oh
daughter.
shit, Rod Steiger. I know who that guy is now.
Who's? Oh yeah, I know that
Yeah.
guy.
I think Reservoir Dogs is probably the other thing I remember him from. But yeah, like 9 or 10 people, like big names.
The only difference is there's a handful of those people that were already big at that time that came out. But when
Right.
did that come out? 94?
That was from. Come on, where's my mouse? There we go.
Mars Attack. Yeah, Tim Burton's Mars
Mars
Attack.
Attacks came out in 1996.
Oh, okay. Damn. Yeah.
And yeah, some of these like are just gonna be movies that like they already had big names, but like it's just crazy how big of a cast they were able to afford. 96, that many fucking people.
Right.
That's a big budget. I mean, a lot of those guys were still getting big money at that point.
Yep. And Tim Burton really hasn't. I mean, he had his hits for sure, but like that was like one of the
Batman
films.
was probably under his belt
Edward
at that point.
Edward Scissorhands, Batman.
Yeah, Edward Scissorhands, Batman.
I'm sure there's probably a couple like
Beetlejuice was on.
Yeah,
was under his
Beetlejuice
belt at
that's
that
the other one.
point.
But this was like one of those films that it wasn't one of his big hits.
No, really flew under the radar. I would have struggled to remember that it was a Tim Burton movie. Like I remember the cast, I remember the movie. Wouldn't have remembered it was a Tim Burton. Hey, it's too bright.
It's true.
Like there's too much light in that movie for it to be Tim Burton.
I wonder if Danny Elfman did that soundtrack, because that's kind of what I feel like you can really tell if it's a Tim Burton film is when Danny Elfman does the music.
I don't know. Can't find that one offhand. Oh, soundtrack. One second, I'll be able to tell you.
Yeah, Danny Elfman's quite the interesting,
Not bad.
interesting guy. Comes to music. I think he did I think he did Men in Black soundtrack.
He's done a shit ton of fucking soundtracks.
He has. He's very unique style.
The other big cast movie, Mystery Men.
Yeah. Yep.
Huge cast.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys that no one really remembered.
Nope. You have Jeffrey Rush, who plays the bad guy.
Yep.
You have
Hank Azaria, who was, I think he was probably really doing The Simpsons at that point, but I don't think he was really like.
He was in Friends. He had
been Friends for a few episodes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like at the time that he did the movie, I don't think he was doing much else.
I don't think so.
Him,
probably not.
Janine Garofalo, who was kind of in between things, I think, at that point. I don't think she's ever been really like.
Dogma and.
Yeah. She did the Criminal Minds spinoff. I think she was in. I think she's been in a couple series for a little bit, but didn't do a whole lot. But like William H. Macy.
Yep. The Shuffler.
Kel Mitchell.
Dane Cook made an appearance in that as the Waffler.
He was the Waffler. Paul Rubens is the colon.
Yep.
The spleen. Sorry.
The Spleen, which is great.
I think
his
anybody
characters
really recognized him as, no one really was able to go, oh, that's Pee Wee Herman.
Right. That's because everything that he's done outside of Pee Wee Herman is completely not what you expect him to be.
Oh, yeah.
And he's good. He's good. Like, I liked him in Blow. I think that's probably one of my favorite scenes
I
of him.
remember
in
him in
Blow.
Reno 911 Miami as Nick Swartzen's dad.
Oh, God. He's still doing stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was in Gotham. He played Penguin's dad, I think.
Yep. Because Batman Returns, the Michael Keaton one, he actually played the father when they show Penguin being born. He actually plays the father in that too.
Oh man, it's been a long time since
he
I've
has
seen
no
those.
lines. He literally just turns around from the window and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ben Stiller, Greg Kinnear.
Yep, I was going to say Greg Kinnear. Greg Kinnear plays
Amazing.
He plays the hero that essentially gets kidnapped and
Artie Lang was in it for a little bit.
Artie Lang, yep.
Praz and Eddie Izzard are the two Tonys.
I remember Eddie Izzard.
Yeah, Praz was the black one. So he's not in there for very long, but Praz is in there for a little bit.
Who else is in there?
Claire Forlani was the love interest of Ben Stiller. Wes Studi is the guy that played the Sphinx, the guy that tries to teach him how to be a superhero team.
Oh, okay.
Tom Waits is the inventor.
Tom Waits, yeah. Tom Waits, man, the roles that he's in.
Yeah, I loved him in Dr. Parnassus's Imaginarium.
Yeah.
I think that's the name. Dr. Parnassus Imaginarium.
It's the last film that Heath Ledger did.
Yeah, I don't think that's the full name of it. Anyway, but yeah, there's a bunch of people in this movie.
See, and I was trying to stay away from ones that you were obvious, like Ocean's 13.
Yeah,
Ocean's
I had that written down, but I was like,
11.
that one's really gonna be
super obvious though.
Yeah.
They were going or like I said, Departure, which I stayed away from those films because that was an intentional thing, and they're already in their prime. You know who these people are, no matter where you go, kind of thing.
The TV miniseries Merlin. We talked about it once. We talked about Martin Short.
Sam Neill.
That's
Martin
got
Short.
Sam Neill, Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tim Burton's
Howard,
wife.
James Earl Jones.
Yep.
Tons of people in this movie.
Yep. In fact, Martin Short's character has always been iconic. Like it's always been stuck in my head as the little.
Frick is his name.
What is he? Is he a?
He's like a goblin or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I'll click on his name.
But I've always remembered him, and I like Sam Neill.
Yeah,
I think he's
good. Wet Hot American Summer was another.
So I thought about that one. That was actually on one.
I was kind of on the fence about that one, but I mean, a lot of them weren't super big at that point.
It came out in 2000. The first one came out in 2001. In fact, I liked them both very much, and because it didn't miss a beat. It did not miss a beat at all. Yeah. It was like they picked off.
Well, they got everybody to come back
and they picked up right where they left off. But yeah, that was one where the people you had Paul Rudd, Christopher
Maloney.
Yes, thank you. I was I almost said
Janine Garofalo.
Yeah,
David Hyde Pierce is in it.
I think even was it Elizabeth Banks? Not Elizabeth Banks.
She's in it.
Yeah.
Banks, Paul Shear's in it.
You had
Poehler, all those people.
Yeah, you had a cast for sure, and at the time it came out, you might recognize a couple of them.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
There were some understated stars in that movie, and that was kind of what I based off of. At least some of them were understated or weren't big yet. Yeah, but they were gonna be big.
Yeah, I thought about that one for sure. I didn't really get into looking at it too deeply, but I think the reason why I stayed away from that was probably because they came out with another one recently. And a couple years ago.
But for its time, I mean, it was
good. I enjoy that movie.
The other one that I picked out, and I've never seen the movie, I just read about it, it's called Bobby. It's Emilio Estevez directed this movie about the assassination of Robert Kennedy.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it just basically takes place with all these people. It's not really about Robert Kennedy himself. It's about that day and the different people he interacts with. So there is upwards of 10 plus stars in this movie, anywhere from
when did it come out?
2006. So you've got Martin Sheen is in it, Lawrence Fishburne, Emilio Estevez actually makes an appearance in it, Nick Cannon, Shia LaBeouf, Ashton Kutcher, tons of people in this movie. And I was reading one thing where it was just the person wrote was anyone who didn't have something going on and could spare a few days to show up to shoot a scene showed up.
Damn.
Demi Moore, Lindsay Lohan.
I didn't even know he was directing.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing now, as opposed to he's not really acting anymore. I think he's doing more.
Well, he shouldn't be acting. He's looking way too much like his dad.
Yeah, they both. Well, Charlie Sheen not so much anymore, but
I feel like Emilio's spitting image of his dad.
Emilio's bottom half of his face looks more like Martin Sheen,
and his voice.
Charlie got the top half.
Yes.
It's really weird how that worked.
Amelia's voice, though, he's starting to sound a lot like Martin Sheen. But yeah, I would say that Charlie's, you can definitely tell that they're related. But
yeah. But yeah, that's fucking, yeah. Those are the movies I kind of picked out. I was looking up, like, had kind of big name cast.
Yeah.
Not even big name cast, but like name cast that were like large in number.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, it's one of those things, like you kind of said, they were on the radar, but they weren't making headlines or anything.
Yeah, they weren't pulling in millions of dollars on their own.
No,
like
this was in the beginning of their career, or at least they were,
They were on their way. They weren't there yet.
Yep. Yeah, no, I definitely didn't. I thought about Hot American Summer. And the reason why I thought about that is because I saw it on Netflix not that long ago.
Yeah. Well, the second one was like a straight Netflix movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And I think that's the only reason why I stayed away from it, was because it came out so much later. And I
understandable.
didn't really think about the first one, but I did. Like I said, it came out in 2001. I'm like, it kind of was appropriate. Mystery Men was the one. I didn't even think about that. I should have.
Yeah.
That was like 95?
96.
96?
Yeah.
I remember when that came out, and it was such a bizarre film.
Yeah.
Because I think the only other film that really stood out for Ben Stiller at the time was what? Something About Mary?
Probably. Yeah, I think he was probably riding that at that point. So he was probably I think technically speaking, he's the lead character in that movie.
In Mystery Men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think technically
I
speaking.
would think he would be, yeah.
And yeah, it's a team, but I think technically.
Because he's the one that's setting up the team, so yeah.
Yeah.
Him and William H. Macy, I guess.
My favorite line from that movie, by the way, everyone remembers the one that says, "Oh, they must have ripped the Q section out of my dictionary because I don't know the meaning of the word quit." That's the one everyone remembers. My favorite line has got to be when they meet Jeannie Garofalo and you find out that she's the son or the daughter of the original bowler.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, he died, didn't he?" She's like, "Yeah, he fell down an elevator shaft onto some bullets." And Blue Roger goes, "I've always suspected foul play." She's like, "As have I."
Yeah. Yeah, he fell down, I remember that, onto some bullets. Yep.
He fell down an elevator shaft onto some bullets.
God, the penciler.
Yeah. Oh, it's Pencilhead and son of Pencilhead.
God.
I remember
I like
that
casting.
That
casting
section.
call
I
right
always
there.
remember because Liam got really into All Star, the song, after he watched Shrek. But no one remembers that song was originally for Mystery Men.
Yep.
So the video is still a Mystery Men music video.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the intro to it, is like the lead singer of Smash Mouth comes on and like throws some guy in a pool. But
I should rewatch that. And Jeffrey Rush too. Like, people don't understand. Like,
Casanova Frankenstein. That's his name in the movie.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous name. When you see him, you're like, huh. But it's entirely, like, the way he is.
Yep.
You don't recognize that he is Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, right, for sure.
Like, he's more than just that, but that's like his iconic role as Barbossa.
Yep.
And he's an older actor. He's been around
doing
for a
stuff
while.
for ages.
But he did a great job as Barbossa.
Yep.
And then, this was way before the Pirates came out. And so
he did that. I mean, I think there was a movie called Quills, I think it is.
I've seen him in a handful
He's
of
in
stuff.
like
I think he plays heperiod pieces very...
Yeah, he's in an insane asylum. I think Kate Winslet and I want to say Joaquin Phoenix are in the movie with him. But yeah, it's another period piece.
See, and I thought about doing, because we were talking about that, I thought about doing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But I didn't really, because that was a Danny DeVito especially was in that movie, and that was like way before.
Oh shit, I forgot he was in that movie.
Yeah, that was before Danny DeVito even made it huge. And
Danny DeVito's not.
Christopher Lloyd was in it too.
You keep saying these names, and I keep thinking, I think he's talking about Taxi.
That's because they were all in Taxi.
I think he's got them mixed up.
Yeah, Taxi is... I've never really watched the show. Like,
I watched some of it.
Yeah, I've seen episodes. And one of my favorite episodes was actually when Tom Hanks appears, because Tom Hanks was who corrupted Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, really?
Christopher Lloyd's character in Taxi, he's like a druggie. He's like a hippie druggie guy. He's like spaced out all the time.
Yeah.
Yep. That's because of Tom Hanks.
That's amazing.
Before Tom Hanks entered the picture, he was like a honor student in college.
Yeah,
and
he
then,
always talks about having like a PhD and stuff like that.
And he's like got the glasses, he's all sharp, like Ivy League, reading a book, and then Tom Hanks being the party guy, he comes in and just destroys him and introduces him into recreational drinking and drugs and women.
We have got to do an episode where we just talk about our favorite like moments where actors appeared in TV shows and really stole the show for a time. Because
we could do
there are so many we could talk about.
Yep,
Like,
definitely do that. I think one of the ones that I think of the most a lot is Monk, when Stanley Tucci comes and he's playing the TV version adaptation of Monk.
Oh.
So Adrian Monk is watching him, who's a method actor, trying to be Adrian Monk, and it's great. Especially because I love Stanley. I think that
I love Stanley Tucci as well. I always think of Spin City when Christopher Lloyd comes on as Michael J. Fox's mentor. And like he comes on and then like he's having a breakdown, so he thinks he's God. And there's a recurring joke that there was like I can't remember the African American gentleman's name, but he had a pug that was constantly trying to kill itself.
Oh,
and it finally does it.
I remember.
And then Christopher Lloyd lays hands on it at the end of the film, at the end of the episode, and brings him back to life. And the pug just pokes his head out and goes, "No!"
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
It is one of my favorite like guest appearances ever.
I haven't seen Spin City in a long time.
I loved it while Michael J. Fox was on it.
Yeah.
When Charlie Sheen took over, I did not care for it.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I remember the most. I remember Michael J. Fox being on it. I think he had to quit the show because of his Parkinson's, wasn't it? Like he's got.
Yeah, I think his Parkinson's started to really take over, and it was too much for him. But yeah, like it's so funny because that last episode he talks about going to Congress, and Michael J. Fox's character says, "Oh, there's this other guy named Alex Keaton, here who's he's a real pistol." It's references, and Alex Keaton is the character Michael J. Fox played on Family Ties, who was very politically minded as well.
Okay.
So it was this weird little send off thing that he did on Spin City. I don't know why I remember that, but
we should like watch some episodes or some seasons of stuff. Like we were talking about that. It's like we should do like Spin City, or we should do Boston Legal. You ever watched Boston Legal?
Legal is a wonderful show. I love that show.
There's some
James Spader is amazing that show.
There are some amazing episodes. Like one of my favorites is when he has to defend two racist family. Or two parents who are raising their children, their twin daughters, to be racist, and he thinks that somebody's suing them, like the school system or a teacher. I don't remember. Somebody's suing the parents, saying that they're brainwashing their children. So they bring him to court, and James Spader has to defend this racist family, and he wins, basically off of technicalities, saying that they're learning their math, they're learning English, they're whatever their political
by the letter of the law.
Whatever their political views doesn't matter at this point. They're healthy, they're whatever, and then the girls try to come up and say thank you so much, and they start singing this song about Joshua or Josiah or something like that, and he just makes a blank comment. He's like, Josiah was a black African Jew or something, homosexual Jew, and it just walks away.
And that series, if you want to watch one of his monologues that will like gut you, watch the one where he's defending Shirley when she wants to have her when she wants to end her dad's life.
Pull the plug, or whatever.
Euthanasia or assisted suicide.
Yeah, assisted suicide.
When he talks about, like, without saying his name, talking about the fact that William Shatner's character has Alzheimer's and has asked him to kill him when it's time, guts me every time I watch it.
It's a great show.
He's wonderful. And what's weird is I don't know if anyone knows that that character, Alan Shore, is from The Practice, which had... he was from American Horror Story, the dad in the first season. But Laura Flynn Boyle and some other people. But there was another law show that took place in Boston. Yep. He played Alan Shore in that show and eventually got sued and left that show and then went to...
a spinoff.
Yeah. Yep. Essentially. I think
He started his own practice.
Because
William Shatner and James Spader are partners, right? right?
Well, William Shatner is one of the name partners. James Spader just befriends him because they kind of have the same viewpoints and stuff like that.
Their offices are across from each other. They share a balcony.
That's the end of this episodes, and most times it's them sitting on the balcony smoking a cigar. Yeah. They refer to themselves as flamingos.
Yeah. It's because the relationship is just brilliant.
They're best friends.
Here's the thing. They're best friends. They confide in each other and everything, but they just straight out say they don't like each other at the same time. Like, they're just, it's because of mainly James Spader's character. He's so on his high horse pretty much. Mm-hmm. Like he's like his nose up in the air, mainly thinking that he knows what's best. And then William Shatner is just set in his ways. He's just stubborn. In fact, one of the episodes I remember is when they're talking about sexual harassment. Yep. It's a great episode though, because everybody in the office has been sexually harassed by William Shatner's character.
That show is written, I believe, by the same guy that did Ally McBeal.
Is it?
I believe
I never watched Ally McBeal.
Neither did I.
I don't think it was a show.
I just happen to know offhandedly that guy's name, and I happened to catch it on the credits one day.
Yep. I don't know much about Ally McBeal other than Lucy Liu is in it, who plays a bitch, and then Ally McBeal, the character of the actress, who just needed to eat something. Yeah, super skinny, just grossly skinny.
She's married to Harrison Ford, or was.
Wow.
Was, maybe. I don't remember.
Well, that is our time, folks. Yeah. It's time to wrap this up. So, we'll have to do some of the stuff that we talked about. So,
definitely.
Once again, if you guys want to get a hold of us or contact us in any way, you can check us out on Facebook at B&B Banter Bros. Yeah. And then we also have an email address, which is B Banter Bros at gmail.com.
Spell the whole thing out.
Yep. We also started an Instagram page too at BNB Banter Bros.
It's gonna get confusing. We'll list it up in the descriptions. Don't worry.
So definitely
hit us up.
Let us know.
Love to hear from you.
Let us know what you didn't like and what you like. Give us some feedback. Give us some
point us in a direction if you want to.
Yeah. And we'll even plug you on here.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we'll catch you next time.
Later.
Peace out.